Welcome to the Face-to-Face. I'm your host, Genevieve Kyle-Lefebvre. The Face-to-Face is a bilingual series of video recorded here at the Société francophone de Maillardville. We acknowledge la Société francophone de Maillardville operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded land of the Coquitlam. We thank the Coquitlam who continues to live on this land and care for them along the water and all that is above and below. Today on the Face-to-Face, I am welcoming Alex Bell. Alex is the founder of the Coquitlam Diversity Challenge. Welcome, Alex.
Thank you for having me here today, Genevieve.
It's awesome to have you with us. And today we're going to be talking about the Coquitlam Crunch.
Yay!
Yay! And more precisely, what you have created, the Diversity Challenge. So can you tell us about what is the Diversity Challenge and what inspired you to start it?
Okay, so the Coquitlam Crunch Diversity Challenge is a challenge that happens once a year. Right now, this year it will be on June 1st. And it started in order to be a fundraiser for a diversity fund for the Coquitlam Foundation that I started, the diversity fund with the foundation itself. And so we've been doing this now since 2010. So it's been going on for a long time. And it's now expanded a little bit as well. I'm the founder. I don't run it anymore, but we also include not just the Community Diversity Fund as who receives the money, sort of the funds from this, but also kids sports. Tri-City Kids Sports also share in some of the money that we raise. So we go to 2 charities now.
Oh, that's excellent. So what are the different categories or challenges offered in the event, and who can participate?
Well, let me tell you a little bit of how it started, because that's how some of the categories really got started. A long time ago, in 2008, my wife at the time and I got into a car accident. We were actually pedestrians on Lansdowne, and we got hit by a car. We ended up both in Royal Columbian Hospital and ambulance, everything. It was kind of a tragic thing. We got out though. It wasn't too bad, but my lower back got quite injured, and so I decided, as part of my recovery, I started looking for something to be able to sort of exercise my lower back. And since I lived just a few blocks from the Coquitlam Crunch, at that time, it was just a little trail that went up underneath the power lines. And I knew some people, like some of the people from the school, would walk it, but it wasn't a very popular trail at the time at all. And so I started going up and down it just as a little bit of exercise. My wife at the time was the executive director of the Coquitlam Foundation, and she asked me, do you think this could be some kind of fundraiser for the Coquitlam Foundation? And I thought, well, it's a nice trail, it's a little, challenging, but then I thought, but you can get up and down it in about 45 minutes to an hour. It didn't seem to be enough to make it a really interesting fundraiser at the time. But then I heard of somebody who did the grouse grind multiple times in a day. And I thought, oh, what if you could do the Coquitlam Crunch multiple times in a day? That would create kind of a unique challenge for people. And so I thought, okay, correction. I think we could make this a fundraiser. And I would love to start a diversity fund in order for the money from the fundraiser to go to it with the Coquitlam Foundation. So that was the genesis of it. And the idea was, what if we asked people to do it as many times as they could in a 12-hour period? So that's how we created the make it or break it category. Oh. The idea was to try to do it 10 times or more in a 12-hour period. And this trail's round trip is about just under 4.5 kilometers. So we're now starting to talk like 44, 45 kilometers of walking up a trail that's about 250 meters of elevation gain 10 times is 2,500 meters. So this is now starting to be somewhat of a challenge. But I know everybody can't do that. And the diversity was in the name of it. And so I thought, well, let's make sure we can get everybody who possibly could do it. So we started off with 2 categories: the make it or break it, how many times you could do it in 12 hours, and then a recreational category. And so those were the 2 first categories of the whole thing. If you could do it once, for some people, just going up and down once would have been, you know, a success. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
And so that started it. But then they ended up putting stairs on the crunch because the crunch started getting more popular. When we first started off, there was only one trail up, and there were no stairs. It was, the steep part was actually kind of iffy because it was gravelly and slippery.
It was slippery, yes.
Yes.
I remember those times, actually, yes.
Yes. And so I was always, the first 2 years, a little bit nervous. Oh, is anybody going to fall and hurt themselves? Luckily, nobody did. But then they put in the stairs. And I thought, oh, why don't we add a 3rd category called the Stair Masters? Could we time people going up the stairs as fast as possible? So we added the Stair Master challenge. And because, you know, some people are sprinters. That's what they want to do rather than doing the endurance thing. And so that was the 3rd category. And then last year, we added a 4th category, which is a 8-kilometer run up the crunch. And what you do is you do the crunch almost 2 times because it's just over 2 kilometers one way. So we stop you just before you get to the top at the 2 kilometer mark. And then you have to come all the way back and then run it again. So you do it twice. And that's the 8-kilometer run. And again, it's, at that point, you're doing almost 500 meters of elevation gain and lots of stairs. And so that adds a whole new category to the event. And so we've got categories for almost everybody now.
Wow. So why did you guys call it the diversity? Yeah. Why is that word, diversity challenge?
That's interesting. So at the time when I got into all this accident, I had a sort of a side job here in the Tri-Cities, and I was working for AMSA, and we were doing this program called Safe Harbor. Safe Harbor was a training for businesses to make their businesses diversity friendly. Okay, and so I was doing this training for staff at Van City, Safeway, Coquitlam Mall, Share, a number of different organizations, and I've had a passion for diversity for a very long time. I really believe in inclusiveness in a community, and so I thought, wouldn't it be cool to include to include diversity, because I would create this diversity fund. So this grant that could be given to support diversity initiatives, because there's so many potential diversity groups in the community. So yeah, I thought it would be a diversity challenge. And for a short period of time, we also had a group, a sort of a challenge called the Anything's Possible Trail.
Oh. And
that was started by a fellow who had a severe brain injury and lost his ability to walk. And it was a great opportunity to include, just on the paved part of the trail, people who had mobility challenges to go up and down, because for them, if they had a walker or a wheelchair, even that small paved portion of the crunch is still a lot. And so for a couple of years, we had the Anything's Possible challenge as well. We started at the church that's halfway up and went to the top of Panorama. So yeah.
That's very nice. That's very well thought of. I've done the crunch myself many times. I want you to explain to us, you did touch on it already, but the Stair Master challenge work? So how does it work? Is people goes around and around? Because I haven't done the crunch for a while, and then I went back, and then I realized there was another set of stairs.
Yes.
And maybe we can explain also for people that are watching us, like maybe some people never actually been on the crunch. So let's talk a little bit. Let's give some details.
Okay, so the crunch trail goes up power lines, underneath the power lines. And there's the initial part, which is the steepest. That's where they put in initially just one set of stairs. And that's where we started the Stair Masters. But then later on, they created another trail because there's a gas line that runs under it as well. So it was part of creating a service corridor. So if they had to close to service on the gas line, they had another way around. And so they added a whole nother set of stairs. So some people who do the Coquitlam Crunch, simply going around the stairs, up and down the stairs, can be a real excellent workout. Now, the Stair Masters, the way we did it, we just decided, you know what? Let's just do it once and just have it timed to do it as fast as you can, because initially, of course, there was only one set of stairs. So if we had people running up and down the stairs and a whole bunch of people coming down the stairs at the same time, they would collide and stuff like that. But now, because the trail kind of goes around in a circle now you can have a group going up one side and then coming down the other, and it makes the going up and down that part a lot easier. So, but we still just have the time Stair Masters, just how fast can you run those 357 steps? And that's a lot of steps, and it's quite a challenge. And all age categories, again, because we want kids as well as seniors coming out to this, and we do. And in fact, every child that comes out under the age of, I think it's under the age of 12, will get a medal if they reach the top.
So I cannot,
because we want.
I can't enroll my 5-year-old yet.
Maybe.
I mean, I feel anything is possible for you.
Right? Yes.
So tell me, how long does it take, or what's the best time to go up and down those stairs?
I can't remember what the fastest time, because it's just going up. You just have to time it going up.
Oh, okay.
And I can't remember the fastest time. I know I can't run the entire stairs, really. I can fast walk it, and I generally get up within about 3 minutes. But if you run it, you can do it faster than that. And I'll tell you, you'll be tired. In fact, we had a couple of international Stair Master people who actually came out and tried it a couple of years ago. These were people who've done stairs all around the world. In fact, I was talking with a group, I believe it was Norway, because they have a similar sort of set of stairs that they have. and it was interesting because we could then compare their set of stairs with our set of stairs and their times.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was
people
fun.
are coming from all over the world.
Yeah.
They're Stair Master people.
Right.
That's amazing. I've never heard of that. This is great.
Yeah.
So now I want you to share a little bit more about this 8 kilometers run, and what can the participant expect?
Okay, now one thing because we used to do it in September. September now seems to be an extremely hot month. So we thought one of the challenges, of course, is making sure that you don't get overheated. And the challenge with the crunch, part of it, is it's south facing. So if you have a sunny day, you have the sun on you because it's under the power lines with basically no shade at that time.
Yeah, it gets hot.
So one of the things we do have is, for those people doing the run, we will have some things like Gatorade and water, because that 8 kilometers, starting at starts right at the parking lot. And this has been an addition that happened as well. At one time, there wasn't even a parking lot there. Now they have a parking lot. They even have bathrooms, and there's a water fountain there too.
Yeah.
So for people that want extra water, there's a water fountain available at that. But we start at just beside the parking lot. That's where the whole race starts. And then from there, you run up the stairs, you continue on past lands down, you continue on all the way past the basketball courts that are up further, past the school, and as I say, you stop about 400 meters from the ultimate end, where there's going to be a line saying 2-kilometer turnaround. Then you turn back and you run all the way down. Now, some people find the running up actually easier than running down because the running can be really hard in the knees, and those stairs are quite steep. You probably know that, right?
Yes, and it's not as normal stairs. You kind of have to be careful. It's kind of giant elephant step.
Yes.
And if you run it down, I have run it down. I don't think I would do it now, but I have run it down, but it's inconsistent stairs. So you got to really watch. You got to be on your toes there. You have to watch.
Because there are grates on the stairs too.
Yes,
and if you fall on those grates, it'll be like a cheese grinder. So please don't fall.
Yes, no. How many people do that 8-kilometer run usually?
Well, last year was the first year we started it.
Okay, that's right.
So there was, I believe, 45 or 50 people who entered it. And again, this is a kind of a nice category between the Stair Masters, which is really a sprint, to endurance that's not quite at doing it, because we no longer do it 12 hours. We'll talk about, we now do it 4 hours. Because strangely enough, when we did the Make It or Break It, trying to find people to do it for 12 hours and volunteers to stick around for 14 hours was hard. So we shortened it. So we can talk a little bit more about that.
Yes.
But the 8 kilometers just is sort of the in-between category where you have, where a lot of people will have enough steam to maybe do it twice and then really challenge themselves. You can't sprint it, I don't think. Well, maybe there's a few people who can sprint it, but it gives you that real challenge of speed. And yet you only have to do it twice. And so it's the midway category, really.
Midway categories.
Yeah.
And now I want to talk about the next one, which is the recreational categories. Talk to us about that a little bit. And who can apply for this? What's the main goal? And how? And also, how can we get involved into this?
Oh, yeah. So starting with the recreational, it's the idea that for some people, people with young children, we want young children to go out and to have them. So many of the events that happen nowadays tend to be like you have to be a really quite uber athlete for a lot of these events. So being diversity, we want to include as many people as possible. So the recreational was sort of set up so that if you just wanted to walk it once, if that was your goal, you could do it. And if you wanted to bring kids along with you, you could do it with them. And so families could come out, or maybe you're an older person, or maybe you have some health issues. Again, doing it just once is still a significant accomplishment for a lot of people. We didn't want to exclude those people. So it's the last category that goes up. And so you may be able to do it once or twice, and it really does open the event up to just about anybody who can go. And there's a lot of young moms who come with babies on their back
or front, depends on the age
too, so they can do it as well.
Oh, that's so great. And now the Make It and Break It category. Yes.
As I said, originally the Make It or Break It was 12 hour to see if you can do it 10 or more times in 12 hours. But again, we found it very hard to get people to volunteer, 12-hour period. Also extremely tiring in the heat. And so we decided to cut it back to a 4-hour category. So now the Make It is, can you do it 4 times in 4 hours or more? And I believe it was, I can't remember if it's 8 or 8.5 times in 4 hours is the record. And that's, you basically have to be running it the whole time to do that.
Up and down.
Yes. So this is somebody who does the extreme, uber athlete type of activities. They're the ones that come out and can do it that way. But the Make It, if you can do it 4 times in 4 hours, you're basically going up and down once an hour. And that's a nice pace, but quite doable as well. My record is the 10 times in the 12 hours and 5 times in 4 hours. So
that's very good, Alex.
I was happy with myself.
That's very, very good. I don't know if I could do that. Okay, so now to recap this, then this is all on the same day? All those challenges on the same day. So I guess some people get there at a certain time because this is the challenge that they signed into. Exactly. And then you guys are guiding them through the day and one after the other. And what happened after? People get together and celebrate somewhere, or?
Well, there's a number of things. So yeah, the different categories, there's Stair Masters because we need to kind of close down the stairs. Stair Masters go first. They're the first category. Then we start with the Stair Masters. They get out, once they get out of the way, then we start the 8-kilometer run. And then the recreational. So they all coming in at different times. Afterwards, we have because it's all timed. So we've got medals, and so we give out the medals, and we get sometimes donations for prizes and stuff like that, so we give all that out. We are trying to encourage some of our supporters and funders to come out and have tables there with activities where people can sort of enjoy themselves. So we hope to have some fun activities at the base that are happening, and then a lot of people actually will end up at Mariner Brewing afterwards. Oh, yeah. Because it's at the base of the crunch, and so people will go there, and because you're kind of tired and thirsty, it's not a bad place to go and relax afterwards with a beer or a non-alcoholic beverage, and meet up there. So traditionally, that's been our sort of unofficial.
So you have talked with the previous owner and the current owners, and
yes.
And then we crunch. And we go for a nice glass of beer at the Mariner Brewery after. Yes. That's a tradition.
And so Mariner got involved with the crunch quite early. I met the mother of the 2 people who originally opened Mariner. She was the mother of her daughter, and her partner opened Mariner Brewing. And she was doing the Crunch Challenge. And she told me, my daughter and her partner just opened Mariner, and it's at the foot of the crunch. Maybe they'd be interested in collaborating with you. And I thought, that's a good idea. Yes, let's investigate this. And so, sure enough, they got involved. In fact, because blackberries grow along the crunch. Probably anybody who does a crunch know this. And since we did it in September,
yes,
that's tends to be the blackberry time. So they even created a blackberry beer. And a special blackberry crunch beer. And so that was a sort of a fun connection. And then I decided that, maybe we can keep something going with Mariner that would go beyond just the once-a-year crunch. And so for about 6 or 7 years now, I've been doing what's called the Coquitlam Craft Crunchers. Every Monday, 7 o'clock, just whoever wants to show up at 7 o'clock at Mariner. We leave Mariner parking lot. It's a 7-kilometer round trip, and we walk back. Some people run it, some people walk it. Again, it's open to everybody, but we call it the Coquitlam Craft Crunchers, and we do it every Monday from the Mariner. And so,
rain or shine?
Rain or shine. Although last time it really rained, only 2 of us showed up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's been a really fun activity to keep it going. And I'll tell you, there's been a lot of changes on the crunch since I began this. Because as I had mentioned, when I first started it, there's probably now as many people that go up in an hour than went up in a day or maybe days that used to go up, right? There weren't very many people at all. During COVID, in fact, it was so busy, the city of Coquitlam had to staff it because there were so many people doing it. And so there's been so many other amenities. So I'm really happy to see that this event has helped really grow this into really quite an iconic feature for Coquitlam.
It did bring back together. It's what you touched on about how people felt so alone during COVID times.
Yes.
So it's a great place to find maybe a friend, but also mental health. I know we all know that if we're by ourselves, if we're alone for a long period of time, not finding someone to connect with or something that we like in common can actually affect our mental health. So I'm seeing in what you're saying a huge connection with this. And maybe you can tell me, do you have anybody that came to you and tell them that made a big difference for them, to help them maybe get out of their little shell or meet people or maybe save them from, you know, like going in the wrong direction?
Well, there's definitely been a lot of people that have come out that were so socially isolated. They may have moved from different parts of Canada here or different parts of the world here, right? And so they didn't know anybody. And then they heard about the Coquitlam Craft Crunchers and they were able to come out to this group. And so there's quite the group now, and they socialize together. And so these people that really felt socially isolated have now found quite the support group amongst each other. And there have been some people who've even started dating, you know, which is really nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
We're matching our Tri-Cities residents together.
Right? Yes. And people, it's not just the people in the Tri-Cities now that come. We've got people from Delta, from Vancouver, from New Westminster, from Maple Ridge and Pitt Meadows. People from all over come. And it's so nice that these group of people, they'll sometimes now arrange hikes on the weekends together. And it's also brought both the mental health and physical health together, because the two go hand in hand. If you can get your physical health better, you're also helping your mental health. And as you say, that social connection is so important. And since with my diversity initiative, that's part of what diversity was important to me, was really creating healthy communities. And again, healthy community, not just physical, but social and emotional health. And this continued Craft Crunchers does that. So I get to do a fund that supports these things. Like last year, my fund went to support the Tri-Cities Brain Injury Support Group. And so this is a group of people with acquired brain injuries who one of their biggest challenges are that when you have a brain injury, you tend to lose social networks. And that actually impacts their basically, you know, recovery from brain injury. So by having people come together that have experienced brain injury and know what it's like to live through the brain injury, they get together and socialize, and that actually helps their recovery from the brain injury. So again, I feel it's just happening on so many levels, and seeing even young people coming out to the Coquitlam Crunch. We have a 9-year-old who comes out. We have a couple of 9-year-old people about 9 years old that come out to the Coquitlam Craft Crunchers, and I like the idea that this is not age restrictive. We open ourselves to as long as you can physically do it.
As long as
we don't want anybody having a heart attack on the crunch. But as long as you can physically do it, again, some people will run it, some people walk it, and we all get back. We come back to Mariner, and we all have a social time together, because you get 30% off your beer or non-alcoholic. They have non-alcoholic sodas, so you can do that because not everybody drinks, you know, beer. So we want to, again, be inclusive, and we certainly don't want people under 19 doing that. So yeah, it's a really inclusive, and people have really found a community there. And I found my own friendship group there as well, which has been really wonderful. Again, going on hikes on weekends and all that sort of stuff. So if anybody feels this is speaking to them, please come out. We also do I also organize a Taillight Trail Trotters. This is every Thursday from Taillight Brewing in Port Coquitlam, where we run along the dike in Port Coquitlam. We do a 5-kilometer run, walk, jog sort of thing. And again, we go back to Taillight, and we have a percentage off our drinks there. And again, it's open for all people. It's a nice exercise. It's not as daunting as going up the crunch because, yeah, it's a little bit of a workout. This is a nice 5-kilometer round trip run on a pretty even dike. It's got a little elevation gain, but not very much.
Not so much. That's pretty easy.
A couple meters versus a couple hundred meters. Yeah.
Okay. My next question for you is, I want to talk about the fact that the crunch, the Coquitlam Crunch is outside, and it's a great way for people to actually get to know a little bit what's there, what's going up the mountain, because if you don't do it, you don't really know what's up there. Most people actually in Coquitlam don't know what's up there if you haven't done the crunch. Right. I think it's a great way to connect with nature. It's a great way to connect with people, like we talked earlier. And tell me a little bit, like, is a lot of people actually told you about this? Like, it's just a hidden gem in our beautiful city?
Well, one of the beautiful things that I love about this in our city, we can leave, like I can leave my front door and walk into the mountains, right? And this is, the crunch is the pathway into the mountains. In fact, it's also an animal corridor. So if you love nature, the neat thing is, there's lots of wild rabbits that live along there. We see coyotes sometimes there, bears, cougars, owls. There's all kinds of wildlife along this little Coquitlam Crunch corridor.
I think we all saw the bears, right? At one point, or even on social media, people post the bears.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, there was a famous one that...
Yes, there was last year. A couple of years ago, I think, right? A couple of years ago.
The bear kind of did the swipe at somebody. Yeah. And so it's a great place to connect with nature. I mean, if you love picking blackberries, again, it's a great place. Yes. Now, we've been trying to remove the Scotch broom, which is an invasive species, so I've been doing that the last couple of weekends. But that's with the broom busters. But this trail is, again, you can continue from the top of this trail further up the mountains, up to Eagle Mountain and stuff like that, into falls and things like that. This is like the hallway into the mountains. In fact, you can walk from there all the way over to Bunsen Lake.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Right? That's a good hike.
And and so it is quite a hike. And so it's a really great place to connect with nature and to be basically your doorway into nature. And I love seeing the little wild bunnies on the trail and the deer. Just 2 weeks ago, there was a deer sleeping right beside the trail at the parking lot.
Aww. They're always so cute. So what's the impact? What impact has the Diversity Initiative Fund had on the Tri-Cities community, and how the grant has been utilized?
Well, now we've got about $35,000 in the grant right now. I'd like to continue to grow it, so because it gives about a $3,500 grant. And so it's supported all kinds of diversity initiatives, such as we supported with ISSBC. We supported a job fair for immigrants and refugees in the Tri-Cities, helping them get employment, because it's to support economic and or social integration into the community. And again, I talked about the brain injury support group. That was that's the social integration into the community. It's also supported families with children with developmental disabilities. We've given to SHARE. So every year, anybody can apply for this diversity fund. It could be maybe socially isolated elders in our community, because our community is growing older and older, and I worry about social isolation of our seniors. Maybe there's an opportunity there. There's lots. It's like our creativity is, the limit of it. So I'm hoping that more and more people look at diversity groups and look for a need to support the social or economic integration of diversity groups in the community. And that's what it's there for, because it builds healthier communities.
So looking ahead, what are your hopes and goals for the future of the Coquitlam Crunch Diversity Challenge?
Well, I always look at the possibility of adding new categories. And again, I'm not running it anymore. Even when I started it, I thought I would love to gift this over to the community. So even if I wasn't here, it would still be a tradition for the community. So that's part of it. I hope when I'm long gone, people are still doing this.
Still doing it.
And again, just encouraging more and more people with a healthy lifestyle. Again, as an aging community too, we need to make sure that we are keeping ourselves healthy and encouraging more people to do activities that keep themselves healthy. Then we have an older population that can be much more active and participatory in our community, which is good for everyone.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And again, having a multi-generational activity that brings people together is also great. So I hope it continues that way. And I hope more and more people all around, I hope it's a tourist attraction. And there's a possibility that they've been talking about a lot, that they're going to build and extend the Crunch to the other side, going up the other side of the hill to Mundy Park.
Oh,
and
yes.
if that happens, wow, there could be new possibilities there.
There's part of it that is actually already a trail, because I've done this.
Yes.
Yes. So if we want to register, where do we go? And even if we want to go on Monday, and what are the costs?
And so if you want to register, we've got an early bird registration that closes, I believe it is today.
Oh.
So unfortunately, but you can go to, just Google Coquitlam Crunch Diversity Challenge, and it will come up. The website comes up, and you're able to then register right there.
You choose your challenge,
categories,
right? Okay,
are
yes.
different. There's different amounts, and whether you want a shirt and stuff like that. So the amount varies. Again, any of our profits go to support kids sports and the diversity grant. And so that's it's open all the way to, you know, I can't remember if we're accepting registrations the day of. We generally do, but we really do encourage you to register beforehand.
Yes,
yes,
of course. Well, thank you so much, Alex. It was a pleasure to have you on the Face-to-Face.
Thank you so much for inviting
me. And maybe you should come back and talk to us about what happened this year, because now we're before. Maybe we can have an interview of the after and how much money you raised and what happened that day.
And please, if you want to come to the Coquitlam Craft Crunchers, just show up at 6:55 on Mondays at the Mariner parking lot. Everyone's welcome.
I love it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
From the Société francophone de Maillardville, Tri-Cities Community Television, and myself, Genevieve, thank you for joining us.